Hi, welcome back to Teen Book Bites. These short chats about great books are offered the last Monday of each month at 3 o'clock on lapl.org's YouTube and Facebook channels. The Los Angeles Public Library offers Library to Go just so that you can pick these books up at your nearest library. So what you do is you can request the books from the catalog to be sent to a library pickup site near you. Just go to lapl.org and then find your book in the catalog and have it sent, put on hold and sent to your nearest library. If you haven't explored our ebook and e-audiobook selections, you should download Libby or Overdrive or Hoopla and start checking books out through whatever convenient device suits you. Okay, this month is a special edition of Teen Book Bites. We're highlighting titles that are part of the LAUSD Battle of the Books, which is a reading incentive program. Students from each school create a team. They all read from a list of assigned books, then compete against one another in sort of a game show sort of format. The intention is to tease out who knows the most information about the books. So most of today's presenters are students from our West Valley teams. Today is a little bit of a cheat sheet for the Battle of the Books, so lean back and enjoy. We're going to get started with Miss Tammy Selly. She's the teacher librarian at Sutter Middle School, and she's going to be talking about our Only Me Amelia by Jennifer Holm.
All right, and the book is going to pop up somewhere? Doesn't matter. All right, well, hi there. As she said, I'm Tammy Selly. I'm the teacher librarian at Sutter Middle School. And before I start, I just want to tell you that the book is even better than the bite. I'm going to talk about one of my battle favorites, which is Our Only Me Amelia. And it's written by Jennifer Holm. She's an award-winning author. And you guys might know her from her graphic novel series, Baby Mouse. Her brother illustrates that, and then she's got the Sunny series about the character Sunny. But what I love is her historical fiction. So can you imagine being the only girl in a family with 7 brothers and being the only girl growing up in the Nasal River Valley in Washington State in 1899? Can you imagine being an immigrant learning English at school, but your parents only speak Finnish at home? Imagine having to do a woman's work, boys and girls, all right, a woman's work, cooking, cleaning, sewing, but she also has to do the manly work with her brothers, working on the farm, herding sheep, fishing, and she's told the whole time, stay clean and act like a lady, for crying out loud. So imagine having a father who thinks that you're nothing but a troublemaker and a wicked grandmother who despises you. And just out of spite, she crushes your favorite China doll. May Amelia Jackson is a 12-year-old tomboy, and she loves and thrives adventure and hanging out with her brothers. Now, there's more work than play, but they get into a lot of adventures, including witnessing scary rituals of the Chinook Indian tribe. She gets chased up a tree by a bear, and she saves her brothers from a cougar. Fun stuff. May Amelia would give anything to have a friend who was a girl. She's hoping that the baby growing in her mama's tummy is going to be a girl. But you know what? Life is hard in the 19th century wilderness, and tragedy is always around the corner. Will May Amelia ever feel loved by her father? Will her father ever stand up to his mother, the wicked grandmother? And you know what? It doesn't matter what century, what decade you're in. May Amelia's point of view makes you laugh out loud because kids are always kids, and that's what makes it so much fun. I love the nostalgia, the cherishing of times past. That's why I love historical fiction, and it makes me think of my grandmother's stories. She would tell me of growing up and doing silly, fun stuff with her brothers in the early 20th century Hollywood. And May Amelia is based on Jennifer Holm's great aunt. And it was all based on a diary that was found that her aunt kept. So I relish historical fiction, and it makes me want to learn more. In this case, why immigrants came from Finland and settled in Washington State in the late 1800s. So I just hope that you enjoy this book as much as I do and have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sally. That's great. I love historical fiction too. It gives you a really good opportunity to sort of experience a time that you may have heard of. I like that your grandma talked about her past too.
Yeah, and grandmothers are getting younger these days, so yeah, it's fun to go back in time.
It's true. It's true. Thank you so much, Miss Sally.
Thank you.
Okay, the next up is Lasara, again from Sutter Middle School. Lasara.
Hi, I'm Lasara. I'm from John A. Sutter Middle School. I was born and raised in Sri Lanka. I came to the United States when I was 9 years old. Today, we're going to be checking out a book that I've really enjoyed reading. It's called The Egypt Game. It is a wonderful book to read when you're bored, when you're sad, or even happy. It is a friendship that the kids share, and the way that they're all able to express their imaginations around each other. A shared love of history and playing make-believe brings all of the members of the Egypt Game together. The Egypt Game is a story about 6 kids who play an elaborate imagining game as they pretend to be ancient Egyptians. Unbeknown to them, they're observed by a strange old man who lives alone when one of the kids is attacked. Will someone help her out or not? Find out by checking out the Egypt Game. This book gave me many emotions that I can't even explain. So I hope you enjoyed reading this book, and trust me, this will definitely lighten up your mood. Thank you.
Ooh, Lasara, it sounds like a mystery. Is that true?
Yes, Miss.
Ooh, sounds like fun. It's on my reading list. Thank you so much, Lasara. So, Philo is going to be our next presenter, and Philo as well is on the Sutter Middle School team. Hi, Philo.
Hi, my name is Philo and I am a student at Sutter Middle School. Today I'll be talking about 8 Cousins by Louisa May Alcott. This book is also on the list for Battle of the Books this year. I would refer to this book as realistic fiction. So if you like realistic fiction and novels, then you'll like this book. This book takes place in Boston. This book is mainly about this girl named Rose. Her papa had just died and she went to live with her uncle and her 8 cousins. Rose considered boys as wild animals, which means that one of the main problems of the story is that all her cousins were boys, so she had to adjust to living with boys. Imagine that you were Rose. What would you do? How would you solve the problem? I enjoyed this book because it's an old book, but it felt like this is currently happening. If you think you might like this book, then you should check it out and maybe even read it. That's it for me, and I hope you enjoyed this book as I did.
That's great, Philo. Hey, Philo, how many cousins do you have? Show me with your hands. Okay, not quite 8. So when you get older, you can write a book called 5 Cousins. How's that? Thank you, Philo. Next up, we're going to move over to the Nobel Middle School team, and we're going to start with Emery.
Hi, I'm Emery, a student at Nobel Middle School, and I will be doing a book bite on Irene Hunt's The Lottery Rose. Georgie Burgess is a 7-year-old boy who lives in Tampa, Florida, but his life isn't as sunny as it sounds. Georgie is known as a troublemaker at school. He doesn't know how to read, and he set fire to the teacher's car. I think we can all agree he stepped off on the wrong foot. But Georgie's home life is not any better. He's always hiding from the beating he knows will come, but in the moments of safety he can find, he will retreat to the wonderful world of flowers. From the gardens, from the picture book at school, to the roses he sees across the street. It's where he goes to seek a safe haven from the painful world around him. But one day, Georgie competes in the grocery store lottery, and to his surprise, he wins the best prize ever, a rose bush. He learns to love and care for the little bush, and more importantly, he learns to give everything he's never received. Now, I would say more, but I'm not going to be the one who gives away spoilers. Let's just say The Lottery Rose is a heartwarming story from beginning to end, and no matter what happens, you'll just want to keep turning the page. If I were to rate this book, it would get a full 5-star review. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye!
Yeah, that was great, Emery. What a great synopsis without giving away any of the important part, huh? Do you enjoy flowers as well, or
I love flowers.
nice? Your favorite flower?
That's a tough one. There's a lot, but if I had to choose, it'd probably be a lily.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, thank you, Emery. We are going on to Timur, who is also from Nobel Middle School. There you go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Timur Coker, and I will be talking about Surviving the Applewhites by Stephanie S. Tolan. Jake, the main character, has been kicked out of every public school in Rhode Island. He burned down the last school he attended. This 13-year-old protagonist is troubled and misguided. During the first chapter of Surviving the Applewhites, the reader learns that both of his parents are in jail due to growing marijuana in their basement. Consequently, Jake struggles to make sense of the world and discover his true self amid the turmoil of his family life. Following his incident, Jake's grandfather, Henry, is fed up with his teenage rebelliousness. He arranges for Jake's placement in a homeschool run by the family of artists, the Applewhites. The educational framework, trademarked as a creative academy, is nothing short of unorthodox. Now, Jake is challenged with navigating academic, social, and emotional life among the offbeat Applewhites. He becomes acquainted with Edie, the 12-year-old only regular person of the Applewhite clan. Together, they recognize their differences, build on each other's strengths, and find ways to succeed.
Wow. Action-packed? Timur, is it action-packed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So was there a lot of humor in there too?
Yeah, it's a funny, great book. It's for those who like comedy, action, and yeah, it's just an all-around great book.
Nice, nice. Thank you. We are going on to Roberto. Again, Nobel Middle School team. You're off, Roberto.
Hi, my name is Roberto from Nobel Middle School, and today I'll be talking about The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas introduces Bruno, a 9-year-old German boy who just moved into a new home from Poland. Bruno is very curious and he enjoys exploring. However, he is clueless about why in his new home it is so lonely, or why a short distance from his home there is a long, tall fence surrounded by soldiers, with people on the other side wearing the same striped pajamas. Bruno decides one day to go along the edge of this fence, and there he meets Schmel, one of the people in the striped pajamas. Bruno decides to go every day to the fence to talk to his new friend. At first, Bruno does not seem to care for Schmel's worries, but eventually he begins to see that Schmel does not live the same kind of life that he does. And Bruno begins to reflect on his own actions and how Schmel is not as lucky as he is to have these same experiences in his own life. Something nice about The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is the heartwarming friendship between Schmel and Bruno, and how strong it is even until the very end of the book. Bruno does not understand why everyone around him tells him not to worry about anyone over the fence. He does not understand this hatred toward these people or what separates him from everyone else. Another thing that is interesting is how Bruno seems to be the only person in the whole book who has an open mind. Despite everyone else around him telling him that the people over the fence aren't really people at all, Bruno is still curious about whether this assumption is really true. Although The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is fiction, it does have elements that come from real historic events. So I think that you too should read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Thank you. That's a much more serious book, isn't it? So what was the most surprising part of that you found in that book?
I think the ending is the most surprising part.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks, Roberto. That was beautiful. Next up is Ruhan. Again, Nobel Middle School.
Hi, my name is Ruhan Mera, and today I will be reviewing the book The Young Man in the Sea by Rodman Philbrick. I really like this book. I enjoyed this book firstly because I like this author's style of writing. Rodman Philbrick usually writes about the underdog coming out on top or going through a change that affects them for the rest of their life. The main character of The Young Man in the Sea is Samuel Skiff Beeman, a bullied boy who lives by the sea in a lobster trapping town on the East Coast. His mom just died, and his dad is becoming an alcoholic who doesn't do anything anymore, so Skiff has to do all the housework. One day, Skiff comes home from school to see that his dad's boat, the Mary Rose, has sunk. He tries to bail it and get it back to the surface, but it doesn't work. He calls the handyman, who tells him that it will cost a lot of money to repair the boat. Skiff then decides to raise the money for the boat by setting lobster traps and selling the lobsters he catches. It seems to be working until a bully from his school vandalizes all the traps and stops Skiff from continuing his plan. Skiff is sad and has given up until he sees a man in front of a yacht and a huge crowd surrounding him. He goes to see what is going on, and the man tells the story of how he found a bluefin tuna and killed it. A Japanese fish market merchant who lives there has bought the fish for a lot of money and is going to auction it off for a lot of money in Japan so they can make sushi out of it. Skiff is suddenly inspired and makes up his mind. He's gonna head out to the sea in a little skiff he owns and find a bluefin tuna and kill it, enabling him to repair the boat and hopefully bring his dad back to him. Early the next morning, Skiff sets out to get the bluefish. He goes through an epic and very intense set of events that almost kill him. This is one of the best books I've ever read, and the main character persists and doesn't give up, even when it looks like the world is against him and he might die. I highly recommend this book for anyone who likes amazingly well-written journey/adventure books that have an incredible plot. Thank you.
Wow, sounds harrowing, absolutely harrowing. Is there anything that you've done in your life, maybe that's not quite that harrowing, but something that you've had an experience with that's similar?
Well, I mean, I once was in this ocean with huge waves that I went too deep and I almost drowned.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah.
Okay, well, there's a memory.
Yeah.
Thank you. Beautifully given. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is Emma. Again, Nobel Middle School.
Hello, my name is Emma Contreras, and today I will be talking about the book Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. Song for a Whale is about a 12-year-old girl named Iris who was born deaf. She has trouble making friends at school, but she feels a close connection towards her grandmother. One day at school, Iris learns about a whale called Blue 55, who sings a song that other whales cannot understand. Iris is fascinated by Blue 55 and sets out with her grandmother to meet him. Throughout her journey, Iris faces many setbacks, but in the end, she never gives up. I really enjoyed reading this book and would recommend it to others. Thank you.
Nice. Have you ever gone whale watching?
I did one time when I went to Hawaii.
Did you actually see any?
I got to hear one through an underwater speaker.
No. Well, then you could kind of feel what the whole story was about. It's vibration, or literally feel what the whole thing was about, huh? With the vibrations. Nice. Thank you, Emma. Very cool. Next up is Abba. And again, Nobel Middle School.
Hi, my name is Abba Patyai from Nobel Middle School. The book I will be talking about is a Newbery Award winner, The King's Fifth. The King's Fifth by Scott Odell is a historical fiction novel that highlights the importance of staying true to yourself despite the circumstances. The book starts with our 16-year-old protagonist, Esteban de Sandoval, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that name, sitting in a jail cell. He is accused of withholding 1/5 of the gold he bought from the New World from the king, and has a trial in 2 days. His jailer, who had previously been kind to him, said that as a reward for the kindness shown, Esteban should draw a map to the gold he had hidden from the king. He provides Esteban with parchment and ink, and as Esteban starts making the map, he also documents the story that led to his imprisonment. As the story unfolds, as a flashback, we learn that he had gone on a thrilling adventure with many friends and eventually became greedy. As he wants to travel, I'm so sorry. Esteban join Esteban on his travels and find out if he is actually guilty. The book is a thrilling read and brings to life the adventures of a 16th century conquistador.
Excellent. Did you know that Scott Odell, when he was alive and writing, was considered one of the best informed California historians?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I know. He's written some amazing books.
That's interesting.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have one more. Anthony from Nobel Middle School.
Hi, my name is Anthony Manila, and today I'm going to be talking about the book Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life by James Patterson. First of all, I recommend this book because it is very funny and has plenty of pictures in it. It is basically like the version of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but better. It is a story of Raj Kajadorian, a young artist who has a big imagination, and unlike other kids, always has his imaginary brother beside him. When Raph enters middle school for the first time, he isn't so bright about the idea. Needless to say, he views school as prison. After getting his hands on the school's code of conduct book, he hatches a plan. He is planning on breaking every single one of the rules on the code of conduct book. He does this just so he can have a bit of fun while in middle school. I recommend this book to anyone who has ever been or is going to middle school because it is a great, well-detailed, and hilarious book to read. Trust me, it'll feel like a roller coaster when reading it. Thank you.
Very cool. Have you read any of James Patterson's other books in that series?
No, I think that's the first book I read.
Well, I got to tell you, there's this whole, like a quarter of a shelf of books in that series with the same humor and the same character. They're fun.
Yeah, I saw them online.
Cool. Very cool. Well, there's something to do this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, everybody. That's all of our Battle of the Books. But join us next month when the Teen Book Bites theme will be poetry and books in verse on Monday, April 26th at 3:00. Also, Teen-tastic Tuesdays, God, that's hard to say, will be returning in April, each Tuesday at 4:00 on the library YouTube and Facebook channels. Each week offers a different teen-focused program, and I'm going to put in a plug for April 6th because it'll start out with International Healthy Snacks, and I'll be teaching you how to make something. Thank you, everybody. It's so much fun to see you each month, and read on.